because it doesn't mean anything. It's rare that you find rabbis speak about ethics and morality and making the world a better place. And the ones who do speak on this aren't very religious to begin with. They're like the Reform and the Conservative. And you guys mentioned Reform and Conservative. I worked in a conservative synagogue for about a year. The congregants are like 70 plus. They're dying out. And the conservative synagogues are full of Reform Jews, and the Reform synagogues are full of atheists. It's a dire situation. The only group in Orthodoxy that's really growing are the ultra-Orthodox Haredim in Israel that live in a bubble, and these aren't the ones you want speaking in your behalf. It's a sad situation. There are segments of Judaism out there that are trying to change things. I want you guys to join that group.
Well, I told many Christians, I said, if you want to help the Jewish people, we don't need to hear about we need to accept Jesus. If you want to help them, tell them to go back to Torah, tell them to go back to what God commanded us and talk to us on Mount Sinai.
Everyone has an agenda to do what they're doing. Okay. It wouldn't benefit to do that. When a Christian does that, they're doing it because they care about you. Okay.
I know. I know now, that part.
Even though I believe they're leading you down the wrong path, they're doing it because we care. What do Jews do to Gentiles because we care? Nothing. I mean, honestly, the average Jew does nothing because the average Jew doesn't care. That's just how it is. There's deep-seated Kabbalistic ideas that is so. This is why I'm not a big fan of Kabbalah. I'm not saying that Judaism has to be destroyed. It just has to be reformed a little. Reformed in the sense that, hey, every time you see a Gentile walking in the street, that's a potential Jew. There's a Jew in that Gentile fighting to get out. Okay, and we should start preaching what we practice. That's it. I mean, it's so simple.
You know what, Asher, and the way I see a lot of times when they rebuttal with some of your videos or just comments, because they know it's the honest to goodness truth, and you're hitting them right between the eyes, and they can't handle that. They don't like you because you're telling the truth. God wants us to tell people that there is a God out there that loves you all. Nobody's left out. Everybody's on board. If they want to go on board, they get on board. I mean, I hear comments on your videos, Asher, and I'm sure you do too. But I'm saying, why are you so tweaked out about this? He's mending the wounds. There's a lot of wounds out there. I don't know. I mean, I think it's great, but unfortunately, then I'm on the boo-boo list with you. Because if I say yes, he's doing it right, and he goes, no, he doesn't. And I go, okay, whatever.
Fake rabbi. He's a fake rabbi.
Rabbi Asher, I was wondering if I could chime in for a sec just to piggyback on what you said.
Yeah, this is
Kalev, by the way. So, I mean, you talking about living a purposeless life in Judaism. I think that one of the dead, if you could say, giveaways of that is, just look around at how many Christian charities there are and compare that to Jewish charities. I mean, it's on the Jewish side, it's almost non-existent, and the charities that do exist only exist for Jewish people. Like you're never going to find charities that exist
amongst religious people,
not non-Jews. Right.
Among secular Jews, there's a lot. Right?
Correct.
They give to the Philharmonic, and they give to a lot of secular causes. There's many hospitals donated, whole wings of hospitals donated by irreligious Jews. That doesn't help us any because they're not done in the name of Judaism. This is why when someone says, look at all the Pulitzer Prize winners, they're Jewish, they're atheistical Jews. Why does it matter? Unless you're trying to peddle the idea that Jews are intrinsically superior, which is not what we want to do, because it's not true.
Oh, no. I was just saying, I mean, you're absolutely right. The majority of Jews who do some sort of charity work or outreach work to non-Jews are usually, Reformed. They're not religious at all. And I think that just, it makes us, I think that it makes us look really bad. And to use your words, it's like a purposeless Judaism right there.
Yeah, Rabbi, my question is, why is it that when you have, say, some people who leave Orthodoxy, right, especially like the Haredim communities, why is it that they don't simply downgrade and go to, like, I guess, Young Israel or conservative Judaism? Why is it that they just leave the faith completely?
Because when most people fall from such a bizarre level, even of observance, because along with all their weird ideas, they also have a very high level of observance. Most people don't survive that fall. It's true. There's this show that just came out on Netflix called Unorthodox. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I seen it.
Yep.
right?
Sure
About
did.
the girl from the Satmar community. Now, all these people are secular Jews. I saw the show. The people from Satmar said it was an accurate bullcrap. That was very accurate. And my best friend is a Satmar Chassid. I spent time in Curious Joel, like in Monroe, and this was very close. That's another example. That's someone who left ultra-Orthodoxy, very ultra-Orthodoxy, just dropped it completely. This is why that when you keep people in a bubble, it doesn't speak well for your community or your God. That that's the only way you could keep people religious, by just keeping them in a bubble. I heard that Elie Wiesel once wrote that he had no problem assuming that the Jews had a mission. The problem he had was when he realized that it was a suicide mission. Because this notion that things are always going to be bad, that everyone is always going to hate you no matter what because you're Jews, this isn't taught in Torah. The Torah never says that the world's always going to hate you. No, God says that people will hate you because he will make them hate you because you're not keeping mitzvot. That's what he says. But it's Kabbalah that teaches, no, Esav l'sonei Yaakov, that Esau will always hate Jacob. This is nonsense. It doesn't. I don't want to worship a God who instilled this into society, that within every Gentile, there's a Nazi waiting to get out, and every Gentile intrinsically hates Jews. Nonsense. That would be unbecoming of a good God, and this is why most people leave Judaism. And this is why I think that those who teach the Holocaust and every atrocity that's happened to the Jewish people teach it incorrectly, because they make it seem like, oh, well, Jews were killed for no reason. No, the reason the Holocaust happened is because the vast majority of Jews were communists. Those who got killed within it mainly were religious Jews who weren't political to begin with. So if you don't teach that, what you are teaching is that people get killed for no reason. Jews get killed for no reason. Why do people hate Jews in America today? Because they're so religious? Nonsense. Because they're left-wing, they support every vile cause under the sun, they're anti-religious. That's why people hate Jews. But 1,000 years from now, when the historians rewrite all this, they're going to make it seem that this is just another chapter of anti-Semitism in human history. People hated this Orthodox Jew named Bernie Sanders because he was so holy, because he put boxes in this. It's all nonsense. When Jews are hated, it's because they're doing something wrong in the vast majority of cases. In the collective, that's what God said. God is actually the biggest anti-Semite in Torah. He's the one who makes Jews pay for their sins, okay? And he says that he's going to use the nations of the world to do it. So people think that if they escape Judaism, they in some way are going to escape persecution and a life of suffering. And this is why most people leave religion. This is never taught. The people with the biggest problems, they always aspire to the biggest positions in the community, the most influential positions. And these aren't the ones who should be speaking to us or for us. Just leave us alone. We just want to be left alone, right? Don't try to convert us. Just leave us alone. Look, if we don't influence the world is going to influence us. This is just 1, 2, 3. You don't have to be very smart to come to this conclusion. You have to be taught otherwise to have that different opinion. And that people are banging on your door to join your people because there's clearly strength in numbers, and you're going to shut it when your own people are jumping the fences to leave. That has to be taught. That doesn't come natural. That form of stupidity has to be taught. If anyone's sat in a Kabbalah shiur, and when they teach the Tanya on how Gentiles have a soul on the level of an animal, even the best Gentile doesn't reach the heels of a Jew. This is indoctrinated into religious people. And this is why when they're confronted with someone who wants to convert, they're thinking, is this person a spark coming back, a reincarnated Jew in a Gentile body, or is it a Nazi who's only hell-bent on hurting the Jewish people? This is taught, and it could be untaught. Someone has to start. Someone has to challenge these people.
We're doing here tonight, and I want to thank everyone for coming by, man. Action-packed house.